Start again. Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Georges River Local Planning Panel for the 19th of February 2026. My name is Stuart McDonald and I'm the chair of today's panel meeting, currently being live streamed from the council offices in Hurstville, and we have a number of people online as well as some public members in the gallery as well. I'll just introduce the rest of the panel. On my far right is Deborah Laidlaw, who's an expert panel member. On my immediate right is Helen Deegan, who is also an expert panel member. And the community representative on my left is Fiona Prodromou. So we have a full panel for today's panel meeting with no apologies. The panel's been appointed by the Minister for Planning to determine specific development applications, including those that are on the agenda today, and I'll come to all the items on the agenda in a moment. I'll just be going through some preliminaries, including how the panel will operate today, so just bear with me before I call the registered speakers forward. The panel acknowledges the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands, waters and sky in the Georges River area. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who live, work and meet on these lands. As I said earlier, we are being live streamed, so I'm required to just advise you in relation to that. That it is also being recorded, and under the protocols of the meeting, no other person should be making any recording of today's proceedings. Also, in terms of the protocols, people are required to register to speak prior to the meeting, and for today, we have 9 speakers. Most of whom are online. I will go through each of those speakers in just a moment. And I'll effectively do a roll call just to confirm who's here. In terms of disclosures of interest, each of us are required under the Local Planning Code of Conduct, Local Planning Panel Code of Conduct, to disclose any conflicts and to sign a declaration to that effect as well. Now, I'm declaring an interest in relation to item number 5 on today's agenda, which is 12 Harris Street, Sanssouci, as I'm currently working on a project on an unrelated project with the project architect for this matter. So I've asked Helen Deegan to chair this item, and I will exit the meeting during the consideration of that item, and will have no role to play in the decision. The panel has undertaken inspections of each of the sites today, and we've also considered all of the assessment reports that have been provided to the panel. And we've also been given the DA documentation that goes with each of those applications. So we do, as well as the submissions that have been made to the council in relation to each of those applications. So we do come here today armed with quite a bit of information, but obviously hearing from people in this public forum is an important part of the panel's process and decision making as well. I'll just go through each of the items and those people who've registered to speak in relation to those items. Item number 1 is a planning proposal for which there are no speakers. Item number 2 is DA 2025-0387, which is 447 to 453 King George's Road, Beverly Hills. And it's a change of use for a 24-hour gym and signage. And we have one registered speaker in relation to that matter, who's Peter Catchlove. Peter, are you here? Yep, thank you. The third item on the agenda, I should say, is 117 Forest Road, Hurstville, which is DA 2025-0163. And we have Pablo Doric of Doric Architects. You're here, Pablo? Or you're
Yes.
You're online.
I am here.
Sorry, Holly, Ilka, you're also here on item 2, King George's Road as well.
Yes, just online.
Thank you. All right. Item number 4, which is 12 Harris Street, Sans Souci. It's a revision application 2025-0028. Alison Davidson and Joe Baker. You're both here online?
Yes, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, speak.
Next item, number 6, is 139 Stewart Street, Blakehurst, and we have a number of registered speakers. This is DA 2025-0024. Firstly, George Mather. George, you're here, thank you. And then online we have James Laidler, Sam Letty, and Jay Jown. You're all there?
Yes, Jay here.
Sam and Jay, Jay, you're on the next one. Sam, you
Yeah,
there as
we're
well? Sorry, that's my misunderstanding. And lastly, for 64 Jersey Road, we have Jay Gion. You're online.
Yes, correct.
sorry, James Laidler here. I'm also for 64 Jersey Ave,
Okay,
not the previous one. Sorry about that.
all right. You're down here for Stewart Street, but in fact, you're here for Jersey Road, Jersey Avenue.
Correct.
Thanks for clarifying that. All right. All present and accounted for. In terms of the meeting process, we'll progress through each of the matters as they appear on the agenda, and I'll call the registered speakers to come up and address the panel, or online to address the panel. Each speaker has 3 minutes to present. The panel may ask questions of you, so just when you're finished your presentation, just be aware that we may fire questions to you. If you are online, and please have your microphone turned off and camera turned off until you're invited to speak. I'll just remind everyone that please don't make any defamatory, discriminatory or comments or use offensive language. And the panel takes no responsibility and will not be liable for any individual who makes such comments. Once we've heard from everyone who's registered to speak, the panel will then retire. I'll close the public meeting, we'll then retire, and we will consider each of the matters in a private session. So the public meeting will be closed, the live stream will finish, and the panel's decision in relation to each of the matters will be confirmed on the council's website within 2 to 3 days of the panel meeting having been held. So that's the process for today's meeting. The first speaker, as I said, is in relation to item number 2, which is 447 to 453 King George's Road, Beverly Hills, and that's Peter Catchlove. Peter, please come forward, and your colleague Holly is also online, I think.
Yeah, correct. We probably don't need Holly to jump in. So Peter Catchlove's my name, town planner or Plan A Town Planning. So I was a town planner on this proposal representing the applicant. The main reason for nominating to present was really about answering any specific questions. I think the delegate report has gone through in sufficient detail the process of the application and the compromises that were made around conditioning, etc. So yeah, I'm happy to open it up to any specific questions.
So you've reviewed the conditions, recommended conditions, and you're okay with them?
Yes, we're okay with
It's
the
okay
conditions.
with them? Okay. Thank you. That was the only question I had at this stage. Any other questions for Mr. Kessler? Panel? No. Got off very lightly.
Oh, very,
Thank you
very much.
But thanks for your attendance. All right, we'll move on to item number 3, which is 117 Forest Road, Hurstville, and Pablo Doric from Doric Architects. You're online.
Hi. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Appreciate it. Thank you, panel members. My name is Pablo Doric. I am the architect and the applicant for this application. Main reason for me to present today is just to give you a very brief overview in terms of our DA process and answer any questions. So with regards to our applications, a lot of the issues were raised in terms of site amalgamation. In terms of what we're proposing is it's a site that's not identified as a site that's prescribed for amalgamation in the Georges River DCP. And also a lot of the items from that were raised in the RFI letter and subsequent meeting with council, such as height, we're able to resolve quite easily by increasing the number of affordable housing. And we're also have a scheme that's pretty much ready to go in terms of sending back to council that's to show compliance with DCP and ADG from the items that were raised originally. The main request today is so that we are asking for an extension of time so that we can address these items within this application, as we believe that we've got a scheme that can be addressed in this application and show a viable development in the adjoining site, which is 119 to 123 Forest Road. And again, just here to answer any questions from your behalf that you'd like from us as the applicant and architect.
Thank you. You've formally requested in writing for this matter to be deferred, is that correct?
Correct. We're just asking for an extension of time. What that might look like might be 30 days for us to submit an initial pack for council, which is ready to go for us to review, and subject to a meeting, what we'd be able to do then is within 30 days have all consultant reports submitted as a formal resubmission within this current year. And that's in essence our request.
Yes, I see. All right, we'll take on board that request when we come to determining the matter. Any questions of Mr. Doric? Thank you. Please go ahead.
I didn't see in the package of documents preliminary site investigation or detailed site investigation of contamination. Any work done in this regard, or work relating to the site history to demonstrate there was no that the requirements of the set were satisfied?
So we have carried out preliminary site investigations in terms of just that, and we are proposing to have a detailed site investigation given the nature of the site being an automotive shop, and it has been for some time, and the detailed site investigation, any remedial action would be part of the DA. That wasn't raised in any of our RFI items as needing additional investigation beyond what we've already done. So we'd be more than happy to carry that out or have that condition, whatever council sees as the best approach in this stage. But I understand the nature of the site and complexity of that being an auto workshop.
Okay, thanks.
More questions? Yes, thanks.
Just in terms of the additional information that you'll be providing if you were to be successful in getting the extension of time, but are you able, or have you been able to provide us some indicative sketches of what the adjacent site would look like and demonstrate that in isolation there's something achievable on that?
Yes, we are providing that as well to ensure that both sites are developable together. So as part of our sketch, we would be sending a full package, subject to a few small tweaks here and there, which would show how the package addresses the items raised in the RFI letter, that being height, ADG, separation of commercial and residential. One of the big items was that we had commercial and residential mixed. We've completely changed level 1 to be fully commercial. So that gives us 804 square meters commercial, give or take, which is over and above the 1-to-1 required. But also we've got a sketch plan of next door as requested. And we've also got shadow and elevational studies for all of the buildings along Tracy Street as requested, showing our impact of our building, in essence, providing a fast moving shadow. So all of that information is in essence ready to go. If we were to be given the extension of time, we'd be able to shoot that across right away. And then what would happen thereafter is we'd push all of our consultants to deliver a full package within a suitable or a reasonable time. I'm suggesting 30 days, but whatever you think is appropriate for a package like that, just to get re-coordinated with traffic, with planning, with stormwater and with landscape and the like, we'll obviously follow your lead on that one.
Can I just check though, did you mention you wanted a meeting with council officers prior to those 30 days or inclusive of that 30 days?
We're offering that meeting. We're offering that meeting. If the development team is happy to meet, fantastic. We'll send a preliminary package for discussion. If the development team is just happy for us to submit a revised package, we're okay with that too. It's purely up to the development assessment team for that.
Any further questions? Yes.
Pablo, I just wanted to ask, if we were to be given an extension, has your team approached the neighbouring properties?
Yeah.
Do you have documentation that you can provide council?
Yes.
Valuations?
Yes, so we've got valuations and registered mail sent as offers in that process. So we'd be able to provide that as well as part of our revised submission as well.
And are they recent?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And just to add to that, there were previous negotiations or previous attempts to purchase the adjoining properties, but they weren't properly documented. And again, we went off the advice of our team that we weren't going to formally lodge valuations and formal offers because the site in itself wasn't identified in any of the amalgamation patterns. But having had meetings with council, we have gone and executed that process in terms of getting evaluations and sending offers to the adjoining properties.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Dorridge, for fielding all of those questions. As I said, we'll take on board your request.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Good, thank you. Thanks for your attendance. The next item has no speakers. That's 15 to 17 West Street, Hurstville. So we'll move to item 5, which is 12 Harris Street, St Susie, and that's the item for which I have conflict. So I'll hand over to Ms. Deegan to chair this item, and I'll return to the meeting after for item 6.
Thanks, Stuart. Okay, we're moving on to item number 5. It's the revised application 2025/0028 for 12 Harris Street, St Susie. I understand that we've got 2 people on the line. I've got Alan Davidson from the Planning Co and Joe Basher from Telford Consulting. Is that correct? Both up there?
Correct. Yes.
Who'd like to start?
Very, very briefly, I might just jump in. Thanks for your time, panel and chair. This won't go through the details, but obviously there's been a protracted history with this application, and the previous panel meeting that determined the original DA, the outstanding issues came down to stormwater predominantly. Through the 8.2 review, we've provided various iterations of stormwater changes through detailed discussions with council stormwater engineer. We've got our project engineer here who can go into the technical side of that, and there have been discussions as late as today about where things are at. I realise we're at the 11th hour in a 6-month time frame for a decision to be made, but I'll hand over to Joe to explain where things are up to with the current discussions, recognising that the current recommendation before you is a refusal based on the stormwater having not yet been resolved. But my understanding, and I think Joe can confirm, is that we are incredibly close to having those items resolved.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Thanks for your time, panel and chair. Stormwater engineer Joe Basher on behalf of the applicant. As Ms Davison just mentioned, I've had extensive discussions today. I've gone back and forth with council engineer. We've narrowed it down to 3 main points of concern. Without getting too technical, we believe that increasing the size of the on-site detention to allow for a full roof area of the proposed and existing building draining to the street via a controlled orifice or limiting the flow, along with very minor little other adjustments to the drawing. We feel that jointly with the engineer at council that by way of amended documents, we could come to a place of resolution where we are both comfortable with the stormwater proposal that's been put forward. As Ms Davidson said, unfortunately for us, we've run out of time. However, we are in the process of making amendments to that plan, which will be ready overnight, but I'm not sure on how and which mechanism that could be assessed. I'll throw an idea out there. If this can be determined by way of a condition of consent, a deferred commencement condition, this would afford the applicant time to then be able to continue the liaison with council to reach a point whereby we could submit new drawings and work through that consultation to have council ultimately satisfied. I don't feel that this is a situation where there's no solution in place and ultimately this could have a deferred commencement lapse. I feel that along with council engineer that we could reach a point where there is a solution in this and we could reach a point where we can both be comfortable.
Thank you. Questions? Yeah. No, that's it. Lovely. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
May I just ask?
Yeah.
Can I just ask one question in terms of process? Have you been? I gather you've been briefed in detail about this protracted issue with our stormwater, and council have worked with us and we've been trying very, very hard to resolve this issue. Has there been an explanation of how close we are to resolving this issue?
Yeah, we've been fully briefed. We attended site inspection this afternoon, and yes,
Yep.
the council officer who's been assessing has given us a full update, and we'll continue to have those conversations post this.
Okay.
We'll go into
Sure.
session.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Understanding the timing of this one, if there's anything we can do in this last minute, we are very happy to provide any assistance in terms of a condition that might assist, anything like that.
Yep. No, we appreciate that.
Thank you for your time, panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandra.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 6, and we have 3 speakers. George Mather, who's here. George, would you like to come forward? Thank you. And we've got James Laidler and Sam Ledge online.
Sorry, James Laidler here. we had clarified that that was, I'm for 64 Jersey, not for this one.
Okay,
Sorry, thank you.
Confirming Sam's also aligned for this subject.
got two lists and you're on both of them for the wrong address. Sorry. George, you are here for 139 Stewart Street.
First of all, thank you for Chair and councillors for visiting the site today. I understand it's hot out there and it's a big site, so
Thank you. Just before you get underway, thanks for your assistance over the phone when we were on site. That was helpful.
not a problem.
And on behalf of the panel, apologies once again for the communication breakdown with your client, who was understandably annoyed.
Yep.
And I don't blame her for that, but her son handled the situation very deptly. So
Yes.
I think we saw what we had to see, and we did do a pretty thorough inspection of the property after all that. So over to you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks obviously for the opportunity to address you all today. This application was lodged on the 24th of January last year. So today it's 391 days that my client has had to wait for this now recommendation of refusal. It wasn't until 8 months after we lodged the application that we got a formal request for information. That formal request for information involved an arborist report, some landscaping confirmation of some species, and some additional heritage clarification. We confirmed, we responded to that RFI, addressed all of those concerns, and had nothing further from council with regards to that. Importantly, for today is that RFI didn't raise any of the concerns about the proposed boat shed, the sewer and manhole works, a design excellence statement, or lower guarding retaining walls that are forming the broader matters that are now being used for this recommendation of refusal. We immediately sought clarification regarding the timeframes. We formally requested extensions of time for those RFIs, and we received absolutely no communication back from council. Turning briefly to those issues, the issue of the boat shed, concerns about the size, the location, and the visual impact were never raised. Had they been identified, we could have amended or even removed the structure from the application entirely. This is a matter that should be readily capable of resolution during the assessment. We're happy to address the size of and meet the DCP's controls with regards to that boat shed. As you would have seen today from on site, the boat shed is very small in the context of the neighbour to the north, which is a 4-storey black building built on the foreshore line, and a neighbouring boat shed, which is a 2-storey boat shed adjacent to ours. We were trying to do something very sympathetic. We were using the form of the DCP. Yes, it's slightly bigger, but we were looking to utilise already excavated land on the site and give my clients access to the foreshore, which is very difficult from the top of the property. Regarding the heritage items, the report that was written states that we insufficiently provided information about internal party walls. We actually included that information, but we decided during that process to put it on the floor plans rather than a section. In my profession, there's a few ways you can skin a cat with regards to information, and we chose to put it on a plan rather than a section. Council has deemed that we didn't provide that section and is now using that as a recommendation for refusal, which we deem is a bit unfair. Regarding the sewer and manhole, this was never an issue that was raised. No additional information was requested in the RFI or during any part of the assessment. The geotechnical report provided by our geotech didn't stipulate any further requirements at this stage, only recommendations. Had council requested those recommendations, we would have been more than happy to comply with those things. When we heard on the 3rd of February, after I contacted council about an update on the application, they said that this was the first time we'd been made aware that this was a problem. I sought a water service coordinator who has told us that it is very feasible to do that work and would not have been a problem. Regarding a design excellence statement, this is a tricky one. Clause 610 of the LEP states that a design excellence statement is only required for new buildings and buildings deemed significant. There is no definition of what is significant. That is subjective to council. So council was never made us aware that our building was deemed a significant building. We did not deem that our building would be significant. So we never relied on the information of that. And just a final note on that. Page 84 of the report actually says that we address the design excellence in the statement of environmental effects. That's in council's own words. So they've kind of contradicted themselves at the end of the report. Look, in summary, from the outset, we're trying to do a sensitive alterations and additions to a heritage building. It's 80% of this site is landscape. We're putting a beautiful landscape garden on the foreshore of the Georges River. We're not doing a ridiculous development. My clients want a sensitive, beautiful addition to their heritage home. They want better access to the site, which, as you would have learned from walking down that driveway, is very difficult, especially for my client who likes parties and has a lot of women with high heels who cannot walk down that pathway. It's also for the benefit of the other neighbours. There's quite a few driveways down there. It's a car nightmare. It's a pedestrian nightmare. We believe that 95% or probably 99% of this application is supported in the report. It's clearly been pulled up by 1% of very minor recommendations for refusal that we deem can be easily remedied. We would be very grateful if the councillors would give us time to address those items, which I believe most of them we already have addressed with communication to council. That's all we as the applicants and my clients on site request from you today.
Thanks, George. Just to clarify, we're not councillors.
Sorry.
We're independent of the
sorry.
council.
No, sorry.
Just no.
I'm new to this, so
no, that's okay. It's something that comes up commonly. So I just thought I'd clarify that with you. Any questions of Mr. Mather? No. Thank you. Look, yeah, as I said, we did have a pretty thorough site inspection. We were there for quite a long time, so we've got a good handle on the site circumstances and understand the drawings pretty well. And we'll take on board your comments and make a determination on the best way, what we think is the best way forward with this application. Thanks very much for your attendance.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, there's no other speakers on this item.
So my planner was online. I don't think he has any further comment. It was really just if there was any planning related questions, he was happy to respond to them. But I think I've got most of the points across. I don't think there's anything further that he needs to add. Sam?
Yeah, I would agree in that regard. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Sam, just jumping in, a quick question, and we
course.
talked a bit about it on site. The significant tree behind the boat shed, obviously it's been retained, but it does have a number of big limbs that do seem just to reach out, and it would appear to some extent that the building is going to be forced set back towards that tree. Has there been any particular considerations given to treatment of that, those works, earthworks, foundations? Any thoughts or comments would be appreciated.
Sam, I'm happy to take that one. Yes, this was one of the issues that was raised during the original RFI. So we'd actually originally thought we were going to require a retaining wall against that tree base in order to extrude the form of the boat shed back. When I visited during that RFI process, the additional information was requested to get an arborist report. My arborist and I were out there, and we realised that actually that work between the boat shed and the tree has already been partially excavated, so there's no excavation required through there, and that because of the slope of the land, it was concluded that the root base is actually further back into the land, so there's no work that would intrude on that tree.
Sorry, just one follow-up question on the tree. The concern when we went down onto the site was more that the boat shed is going back towards a proposed boat shed, and there does seem to be that the arboricultural report dealt with the root zone, the structural root zone and excavation, but it didn't seem to deal with the proximity of the boat shed to that limb of the tree, and I just wondered if that had been looked at.
I'm happy to address that one as well. I don't have the report. I don't have the report to hand. But yes, the arborist, when he did that assessment, looked at the proximity of our building in relation to that into the tree, and it was deemed that there would be no impact on the fig tree.
Okay, thank you.
No further questions? No. Thank you. Thanks for your attendance. Move on to item 7, which is 64 Jersey Avenue, Mortdale. For which we have, I think, some registered speakers.
Yeah,
I'm not even trusting my own handwritten notes now as the speakers for this item. So do we have JG on? Jay, are you there?
Yes, Jay is here.
And who else is speaking on this item?
James Laidlaw.
Good, got it. Anyone else?
I believe that's it.
assistance.
That's it? Righto. Thanks, gentlemen. Who'd like to go first?
I will go first.
Thank you.
Firstly, thank you for your time today. I am Jay, Senior Transport Engineer from ASON Group, representing the client on traffic-related matters. Just wanted to provide some context on this submission, just so you're well aware. So as part of the application, we prepared a transport statement which provided, I believe what is in front of you, the angled car parking spaces. And this statement was dated 4th of June 2025. We received comments from council and a subsequent meeting was held to discuss the angled car parking spaces on December 2025. In that meeting, we came to an agreement that the angled car parking spaces were not feasible, so an alternative solution was required. In the meeting, it was discussed that there is the potential, given that they were open to amending condition 9C to provide the presentation of bins to be relocated from the rear of the lane, which is Ocean Lane, to the front of the property, which is Jersey Avenue. So the existing curb and gutter, which protected the bins, were not really required. We came to an alternative solution that a roll top curb, a mountable curb, can be provided, which will provide more flexibility for car space number 2 and 4 to get into and out of these car parking spaces. Now, the request was for amendment to condition 9E, which specifically refers to the fact that car space number 2 and number 4 needs to be able to get into those spaces via the existing curb and gutter. The request was for that to be amended so that it reads that the access to these parking spaces can be provided via the proposed roll top curb. So as part of this planning panel, I'm unsure as to why the angled spaces have been provided, given that it is our understanding that the alternative design, which we have designed and presented to you as part of this discussion, has been provided to council post that meeting. So ultimately, we believe that the design that has been proposed and presented to you shows a swept path assessment of the vehicles going into and out of the site. This is a viable solution and something that we can definitely work with. So request effectively is, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to deal with this, as I'm not a planner, but ultimately I believe we have a solution and something that can work for both council and us.
Okay, thank you. James, were you wanting to address the panel as well?
So yeah, my name's James. I am one of the principal transport engineers at ASON Group. I don't have anything further to add other than what Jay has already said.
All right, thank you. Yep, I think we've got some questions. I might just lead off.
Yep.
So we stood on site today and stood in the lane and observed the current arrangements. And there's a carport covering one of the spaces at the moment.
Correct.
How would a roll top curb assist in getting into that space?
The existing cover, the carport itself, will be converted to a cantilever-like structure, which will not have any
Post.
posts in the middle of that area. Correct. The cantilevered poles would be close or near to the building itself, which will obviously be designed and implemented according to the civil and installation guidelines.
So when you spoke to the council, was it to the council's engineers about putting in a roll top curb?
Yes, correct. It was part of the discussion.
Okay. And what, just explain, because I wasn't quite clear from having been on site, what the problem is in, I understand that there is a car parked across one of the driveways from time to time, so it's alleged, that prevents access to one of the spaces. But that's
Correct.
that's got no, that would be an ongoing problem regardless of redesigning the curb, wouldn't it? I mean, that's a problem within the strata body, that someone's parking illegally that's preventing another strata owner getting access to their car parking space.
Yeah, as I understand, there were a number of issues with the bins also encroaching into the Unit 4's parking space. In terms of that, the pickup and manoeuvring through. The roll top curb provides an option for Unit 4's parking space to effectively be able to manoeuvre into that space a lot more freely, not solely relying on the existing access driveway to which that car can sometimes be parked, blocking that driveway. So it gives more flexibility for both of those parking spaces to enter and forward into their spaces in a forward direction.
So it's anticipating that the road parking at Unit 5 is going to continue.
They are in discussions at the moment. I'm not privy to those discussions internally. I'm not part of Strata, so I'm not sure. But from what I understand, they are working on that to restrict that car from parking there. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Further questions?
Have you actually had any structural advice about the feasibility of cantilevering that car park port roof? It does look quite wide and quite heavy.
I have not. That's not our specific area of expertise, but the discussions that we have had with our client, they are happy to undergo that process to make sure that the cantilevered roof there is compliant with any and all requirements for that.
And I assume you've had someone advise you of whether that was compliant exempt development, or whether that should be subject to the DA that you currently got before council.
So we as transport engineers were focusing on access into and out of those spaces and the fundamental design of those two parking spaces. The design compliance approval pathway of that cantilevered roof wasn't part of our scope.
Okay. Can I then just confirm, because there has been a lot of correspondence back and forth and changes, as of right now, what is it that you are seeking approval for?
The Jay jump in as well, but the roll top curb, the confirmation of the roll top curb and the amended design of those two parking spaces are acceptable for council.
the amended design being no longer angled, but the two parallel, both being sort of equal to each other. Because at the moment they're a bit offset.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So the report was originally submitted with the angled spaces, as Jay had mentioned. There were further discussions with council with the discussion of the amended design. We have gone and undertaken that assessment to ensure that from a maneuverability point of view and a design point of view, those parking spaces do work. And we've submitted those back and seeking approval for, in principle, at a minimum for those.
All right, thank you. We'll take on board everything that you've said today.
And thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for your attendance. Apologies for the confusion about who was speaking on what items.
No, that's perfectly fine. Thank you very much, everyone.
That brings to an end the registered speakers for today. So I'm going to close the meeting and thank you all for your attendance and assistance to the panel. As I said, the panel will now move into a closed session where we'll be deliberating on each of those items. We won't be returning to tell you what the results are. So when I close the meeting is over and you'll have to, I'm afraid that's the end of the entertainment. And we'll take our time to deliberate, but thank you all for your attendance and assistance. So I'll formally close the meeting. Thank you.